Welcome back to the PaperTrails podcast with the Inspyre boys here at Concrete Culture Studios, joined by another very, very special guest today. Had two great guests back to back.
Wow, sensational
amazing guests. Can't wait to get stuck in with the conversation with her. I'm gonna do a little Google description. So let's see if it's accurate. Tell us if it's accurate after.
Okay.
So Sofia Akel?
Akel.
Sofia Akel is an award-winning cultural historian, creative consultant, writer, host, and lecturer specializing in Black British history. She's also the founder of the non-profit Free Books campaign, which I do know is correct. Her work has been featured in national and international press, including BBC One Extra, Channel 4 News, and ITV News, and more. How's that sound?
That is correct.
That is correct.
I was so scared. That's what I was going to say.
No, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Been the first time I've actually meeting you, so I've been seeing the work you've been doing. I feel like I've seen your face I've been seeing your face around the industry for a long time. So yeah, tell us a bit about yourself, and we'll try and tell us a bit about us as well, and then yeah.
About myself?
No, yeah.
Well, I mean, you just read it so eloquently.
I want to hear your point of view, you know.
Like
So let's talk
essentially the
about,
type of stuff
Free
that
Books
you get up
campaign
to.
even.
Which one?
Let's talk about like the Free Books campaign. How did that start, and what is it? And
Okay, yeah. So Free Books campaign is a non-profit that gets books to people that can't afford them for free across UK and Ireland. I started 5 years ago whilst I was teaching. So I was a lecturer.
Okay.
Whilst I was doing that, but it was only started off to get people some books to do with like racial literacy. So in 2020, everyone wanted to educate themselves about like.
they had the time all of a sudden. Yeah.
Stuff we already knew about, but so I worked with a publisher to get physical copies of books to people, and then I just started getting DMs from people asking to donate and to support. But because the publisher was already covering it, I was like, thank you, but no thank you, which felt like a waste of people's generosity.
Yeah.
So then I set up a fundraiser, and then it just grew from there. So I never set out for it to be Free Books campaign. That's why it's still called campaign in the title. Like it never was supposed to be like a whole company or anything.
Yeah.
Just ended up there.
No, of course, but it would be so fascinating to also hear your journey going through it, like when it started kicking off to actually like, oh wow, this could be something very special. Now, of course, you started, what was it, 2020? So that's like Corona times.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what made you want to even kick it off to begin with?
Honestly, it was just because of people messaging asking to donate and how they can support. But because it was just directly from the publisher, there wasn't really anything that people could do to get involved.
Yeah.
So then I set it up as a fundraiser.
Okay.
And I think it was like £1,000 the goal, which obviously wouldn't buy you too many books.
Yeah.
But then it went up to like 7,000, 8,000, and then we became a community interest company just because there was so many fundraisers that year and not a lot of accountability.
Yeah.
So I wanted people to know that their money's going where I say it's
Actually, of course.
and then loads of authors started reaching out, like just the general public, people that worked in publishing, artists, like everyone. And then it just grew from there. So obviously it's very like, to me it's still very grassroots because nothing happens without
The people.
us.
Yeah.
The community.
No, of course, because I feel like books are low-key expensive.
High-key expensive.
Yeah,
I don't even buy them myself anymore. I can't even lie to you.
No.
It's
It's actually wild these days.
I mean, these days it's always been like that. Like we were speaking before with Omar from Camden Book Club about like how we kind of met. So we might as well while we're here.
Yeah, go on. So
we actually went to primary school together. So way back in 2004. Which looks like a long time now.
Wait, now I'm trying to figure out your age.
I'm sorry, it's not that deep. Yeah, so like I remember like just going to like I was gonna ask you about your background with books and how you kind of got interested. Like I remember when I first, like my dad took us to the library for the first time. I was like, there's no way that I can take 7 books home for free right now, because I remember like seeing the book fair every year at school and like seeing all them shiny brand new covers, and I just like, I could never afford them. Like I think the school gave you like 1 free slip or something. I don't remember, it was something like that, like a voucher, or maybe it was a discount voucher or something. But I never like got to buy those books because they were just expensive, but it looked so good. And then I remember I became like a real library kid and started reading a lot of books back then. What was your experience with that, guys, like with that kind of stuff, like growing up in primary school?
I remember books were like extortionate. Like but maybe I was looking for the high end stuff. I was trying to get that. I was trying to get that fresh new Harry Potter. You know what I mean? Back then.
What's it called? The Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh,
that fat book back in the day.
The shiny cover.
Yeah, but it cost like £30 or something.
Yeah, I was going for all sorts of stuff. The Lord of the Rings special edition with like the pictures and everything in there. You know what I mean? I was going, if I'm gonna buy this book, it's gonna be proper. And I'll look at it at the time. It's like £15, £20 into like an 8-year-old. That's like what for this, I'll just watch the movies again. And so like that's why also and then I don't know what happened one day. Literally, my mum came with I don't even know how she carried it in the house, like a bag like the size of this table, like this big, of just books.
Really?
Old books, any books, like even had some manga stuff in there.
Okay.
And I remember I would just like dig through and be like, okay, I'll read this thing here and I'll read that. And obviously it tastes better when it's free.
Yeah, 100%.
Where did you get it from?
I still to this day, I have no idea.
Shout out, Mama.
Yeah. So it was like legit, it was like a whole bag of free books. I don't know if maybe people were donating it at the time or like, because now there's like these library things that you can put in books that's on the streets.
Oh, yeah.
And you can swap books about.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, so I don't know what black market she was in, gathering these books. But so yeah, that's how I was able to actually have access to books. And I feel like had it not been for that, I always never really trusted myself with the library. I felt like
what does that mean?
I might spill coffee. I couldn't, you know what I mean? I don't trust myself to look after.
Fine, yeah.
yeah. I can't. I'll be like, I can't look after this book. The moment you tell me to look after, I'm like, oh god.
It became a baby for you.
Yeah, and I'm like, how do I even flick the pages normally? You know, so thankfully because of that, that's what allowed me to actually get into reading because I had good access to books, you know.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't watching like TV or something like that, I could be like, oh, I've got these books. Let me just actually go through them. And on top of, and then it was the same for my brother as well. We didn't really have to go to the library. My youngest brother, he started going into the bag and started reading as well. So it was like a whole little thing that started from that. So yeah, that's how pretty much I think my mom saved me from being able to have, not from the streets, but from having the free books.
You got to bring your mum onto the podcast, as you said.
Yeah.
On it.
And find out how she's
a good storyteller too. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to bring her on.
Yeah. So that's I'd say my journey into it or like reading.
How about yourself? Like, what was your first introduction into reading, and how did that grow over the years?
There was a library across the road from my block, and I loved Matilda.
Okay, yeah.
And I just loved the fact that she went to the library by herself and then picked up loads of books and went home and read them.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So there was that, but also I was very competitive. So you know, at school when you have to read the different like lines to assess how articulate you are, or your literacy skills.
Yeah.
Like I always wanted to boss those,
Okay.
and I did.
Damn right.
But also I wanted to be reading the highest age books compared to the other students. So it was also a bit of competitiveness as well.
Yeah, that's sometimes competitiveness is what's needed to actually get you going.
Yeah, I guess
that's what it is. We're always trying to compete against each other. I don't know why, but it's just what's needed.
We're competing in.
We said on the last podcast, I was like, if I said to Sharmarke, let's run down that corridor right now and see who's quickest. Like, we'll drop the mics and go like right now.
Yeah, without even thinking about it.
I think you guys should have a race when we rap. I've
got a bad knee. This is when the excuses come up. So like, how did that grow into where you are today then, in terms of your experience with books or your relationship with books and the work that you do?
I think I've kind of gone up and down with books throughout my life. So when I was in school, I didn't really I read a lot when I was in primary school. Secondary school, I didn't read as much. And then university, I was reading for studying, so I didn't really enjoy reading for pleasure. I studied history, so I had to read a lot. So I didn't really enjoy it too much. And then once I graduated, that's when I started reading for pleasure again. So it was just kind of like...
Yeah, up and down.
Yeah.
To be fair, I feel like that's how it happens with a lot of people. Like in school, you just get hit with all of Mice and Men and these books that you're not really feeling, and then you go into like university, and then now it's like just literally all for like uni work and bibliographies and all these thick books. And so like even with me, it was like after uni, then I was like, actually, you know what, let me pick up a book again. And I think... yeah, that's when I actually started to actually enjoy it on a serious thing. And I think around then as well, we was doing our podcast where we was reading a book a week.
Yeah.
And then weirdly enough, I think, well, for me, that then made it not for pleasure again, it made it work.
Yeah.
Because we had to read a book a week, so it wasn't like I could sit with this book and enjoy the book, But I mean, I'll be honest, I think because our main thing as well is kind of like trying to get, we try to say get Mandem to read again.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Love that.
That's the idea. And
how's it going?
And so I had my little self-help book phase, you know. Thankfully, I didn't read 48 Laws of Power. That's an inside joke that we always have.
Do you think there would have been any books that would have changed the way you think about the world in a negative way?
Not in a negative way. No, I mean, I remember like, because I used to hear things about Niccolo Machiavelli and The Prince, like being such a cool book kind of thing, you know. I was like, let me just read that, and then, but it was never anything that I was like, okay, I want to like follow this kind of mantra in life, you know. So thankfully, I came out of the self-help book back into the normal fiction thing, because, you know, as we were saying before, like a lot of the time guys, they only read non-fiction because it's like, okay, how am I going to get financial freedom? And then what are like the 6 steps to financial freedom, and like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like it's only like I want value from this. And if it's not giving me a 14-step value, then I'm not even touching that, you know? Whereas we're trying to go from the angle of like, it's in the stories and in the characters and in the people that are in these stories that you actually learn a lot from. Because it's all well and good to say, oh, this is how you can make money. But if you have a story of a guy that's actually pursuing something and trying to make money, or not even just pursuing something, but like they always say that, you know, the gold is on the other side of the dragon, and that can be whatever for you. The dragon doesn't have to be like the fantasy thing. It could just be like, you know, anxieties. It could be work. It could be rent, relationships. All of these things are different dragons that we will have. And it's, the thing that we want is always on the other side of it. So like we're trying to, I guess, bring the message in on that angle. So still kind of giving value, but also funneling the books inside.
Why do you think guys love manga?
Manga? Oh,
that's a great question.
Because I was going to ask you why guys read self-help, but you answered my question. So that, but I feel like manga's kind of either read self-help or manga.
I think manga's a great I think manga's a great bridge into reading more deep fiction, because like comic books are good, like a good entry. Like that's what I loved growing up. Like when I went to that library and I got like a fat stack of comic books, like I'll finish them by the end of the day and be back the next day. And like that was like a thing where I was seeking heroes and I was seeking adventures and stuff like that. And then when I first read like my first manga, I was like, ooh, like this is a bit of a comic book. It's a bit more interesting writing, a bit more detail. I'm getting something from a different culture that I'm already used to. I think that's very interesting. Like there's the whole idea of like why black people like Japanese like anime and stuff like that. Like, that whole idea is very fascinating. So that's a whole discourse in itself. But I think that manga is the bridge between reading like a fat book that's like Lord of the Rings, for example. Where you have visual like graphics that will help you visualize the story as you're going through it. So that's what I would say to that. Like, I enjoyed, like that was my first, like funny enough, I never kind of stopped reading that. Like so, I'm quite grateful for that. Like I read a lot through my secondary and my college years. I remember when Game of Thrones came out, or the show. So like I watched like the first episode. For some reason with my dad, and there was like graphic stuff in there, and like, you know,
you can't watch that show with your parents.
Yeah, exactly. So like, but for some reason, like I was crazy. My dad put it on. He's the wrong one. But I don't think we knew. It was more like just pick the channel thing, and it just popped up.
You know that when them scenes come, everyone's silent.
Yeah. Oh my word! Just gotta look at
that on your phone, like.
And them days you couldn't even fast forward. You had to mute it. My dad would be doing this, you know. So yeah, like, I remember like when that came out, like I just went and banged out like all the books that were out at the time, and then I didn't have a lot of other things that I was reading, and then my friend was like watching anime, and I thought it was lame at the time. I was like, oh, anime lames, like watching Naruto and all that. Yeah, I know. I was one of them guys, and then I started. I just kept on seeing him every day in college, like just banging out manga on his computer, and I was like, okay, let me actually have a look and see what he's reading, and then start reading it. I was like, okay, this is actually really fascinating. Like, there's some really great stories told in like a completely different style that I was never used to, and like that kind of exposed a different part of my brain, and it captured my interest. So I can see how it's relatable to a lot of people.
I find it interesting that a lot of guys will be like, oh, I don't read, or book clubs, like, oh, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But then they read manga every week that the new One Piece drops out. They'll chat to each other. They've got group chats. They got podcasts, talk about it. They go, you know what I mean? Like, you're actually in a book club.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it's just there's a different thing. I think when you look at it from the Western lens, and it's just like words in lines, and you know, it just doesn't look appealing to like just be reading a book, you know. Like even when I was young, like, if I didn't see any pictures, I'd be like, oh, what the hell is this? Like, I'm not going to sit through this. But so now that you've got the storytelling and you've got the pictures alongside it, it just hits different, I guess. But also I was like looking into like different cultures and how they do different levels of like storytelling and all this other kind of stuff. And one of the things I realized as well from like the Chinese and Japanese sort of literature styles is they're very much into the thing that's now like known as like sort of the chosen one. So it's like a young kid that's very shy or like timid or like anxious, isn't a hero basically, that then becomes the hero. And they very much love that kind of stuff and like showcasing, oh, this is who he is, this is where he's from, this is his lineage, and these people are like of this stature and nobody can save them except this one kid. And that one kid is like the most relatable kid in the world because he'll be like, I can't do it. Instead of like, yeah, of course I'll go do it. And it brings you in on a different level compared to like the usual traditions of like, there is a king over here and blah, blah, blah already off the start.
So it's that relatability.
It's that relatability. And it's funny how like they can relate with like an Eastern tradition sometimes more so than even like the Western traditions. And it all comes down to like storytelling and how we, you know, like what you're trying to say in your with your words, you know, like it's fun to watch the guy flying, but like it's the guy could never fly before and this is how he overcame it. And you know, so it's like, but if you break it down to that level of like technicality, they'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about, I just think it's a good show. You know what I mean? So that's essentially what it is. It's just a lot of it is just like relatability, and somehow they're able to create really good like stories that have a high sense of relatability, despite whatever world it's in, which is a fascination in of itself. But it's a fascinating topic. But what I also kind of wanted to know more from like your aspect is kind of like, because we're trying to, I guess, get the man to start reading again. Would you say you have like a sort of goal, or is it kind of like we'll see where this goes?
The Free Bits campaign?
Yeah. Because to be fair, actually, with you, I would say you're a bit more than 3 books. You've got like 3 books, and then you've got yourself as well that like does different other things. Yeah. So I would say like, what's the bridge between the two that like you're trying to
like me as an individual?
Yeah.
I think the bridge is education and storytelling. So from when I'm like lecturing, I lectured in Black British history. But we looked at storytelling in loads of different forms. And as part of that, I worked with publishers to get free books for my students. So I feel like there's constantly, well, I love free stuff actually. Let's start there. There's like there's a constant theme of free stuff. With anything that I do, I always want to be able to give people things. And then free book side, I feel like I keep moving the goalposts. So when I get closer to like something that I want to do, and then come up with another big thing. Do. So I think we started off just to get books to people, and then I was like, let's do an event, and then there was like, that event might as well be a festival, and then, do you know what I mean? We want to work with brands, and it just keeps moving. And now, the plan is to build a library in Senegal. There's also a art space for people to come from around the world and exchange knowledge and skills and collaborate.
Absolutely sensational stuff.
Wow.
Scary,
of course.
Yeah.
Was there a reason why it's in Senegal?
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah, my granddad's from Senegal.
Nice, yeah.
And then that's also the bridge back to me. So I went there this year for the first time shooting a documentary about my granddad's journey to England. He died when I was really little. And my family, like, some of us think we're Gambian, some of us thought we're Senegalese. If you know, the Gambia runs through the heart of Senegal. But yeah, I managed to find out exactly how we got here. Turns out we're not Gambian, Senegalese.
Yeah.
So even the way that my family name is Cisse,
Yeah.
we spell it the English way, but actually it should be spelled the French way now that we know. Like,
Okay.
so I've just been doing like my own personal
journey.
Yeah, and then it links back because I want to spend more time in Senegal. So.
Oh, that's beautiful, honestly.
Yeah, and definitely to bring, I guess, literature and art to Senegal as well. You know?
Yeah, there's a massive thriving arts and culture scene in Senegal. Like, it's a really exciting country to be in at the moment, and people are so nice. Like the nicest people I've ever met in Senegal. But the literacy rate is quite low as well. It's I think 50-60%, and it's mostly men compared to women that can read.
Oh wow!
So there's loads going on there. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you talk about you've given us a really good background now, so I'm kind of getting some ideas about questions I ask now, because I started thinking about like us, like we're both Somali, and thinking about like we've both been back home, and like how was your experience like? Do you notice that, like in terms of like arts and because with Somalia we like to call ourselves a nation of poets because like Somalis are very well known for like their storytelling. Like most people say like they know it's funny Somali, like that's like a common thing. Like if you know a Somali, 9 times out of 10 they're probably one of the funnier people you know.
Oh really?
And like we're also in terms of poetry.
Proven statistics.
Okay.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
I'm gonna need to see those.
Like, we have a strong tradition of like oral storytelling and there's a author called Salma Ibrahim. I'm not sure if she wrote a book called Salutation Road. She's actually from I think Woolwich. So yeah, she's from the South. So we interviewed her, and she was also at the Candid Book Club Festival. She was talking about her book and stuff. But like in her book, every single chapter, like at the beginning of every single chapter, she had a Somali proverb in it, and it was like very poetic. And we had a nice discussion. We were talking about our favorite proverbs from there. So like we have a strong background in terms of our culture in storytelling and poetry and stuff like that. But when I went back home, like I think I saw it in my own eyes in terms of like verbally, but I didn't see like literature and arts and stuff like.
Because the sad thing is because for a very long time, like as Somalis, we were just nomadic. So our art wasn't like in museums or like compared to like people of Florence that built museums and like places that they can put their paintings and all that kind of stuff. Our art was just either told verbally or like carried in the stuff, everyday stuff. Like I remember my grandma, she just had so many like different patterns of like cloths and different things that she had, and all the other aunties as well, they can have that because I don't know, now they're very much city people, but they still kind of have that like where if anything happens, we can up and leave.
Yeah.
And in that is the art, you know. And so it's, I guess something like what you're doing in Senegal would be necessary in Somalia, like an actual place that you can all come to and be like, oh, this is the art. There's something similar like that in Culture House. And that already did really well because people are like, oh, okay, I can see this thing here. And
have you heard of Culture House? It's a place in Shepherd's Bush. So it's like the first permanent exhibition space for Somalis in the UK.
Oh wow!
So they have a lot of different art exhibitions that go on there. We ran our book club there. They do a lot of things to like promote like arts from the Somali space basically within the UK.
Is there a big Somali community here?
Yeah.
Like in this part of London?
Oh yeah. With this part, Halsden is right next to it.
Okay.
Big Somali community. Like that. To be fair, they're concentrated in little pockets, but like this is one of the
one of the hotspots.
Hotspots, as they say.
Is this where you guys grew up?
I mean, he had a few years here, but we're both a bit more like you know where Barnet is? So a bit more northeast.
Okay.
I'm guessing you just south.
You've heard of Wood Green, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, you've heard of Wood Green then. So I'm like 10 minutes from Wood Green.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I was a guilty yes.
I know.
No, I'm actually from Romford, so I'm from way over. Do you know Romford?
Yeah.
Is that east?
Yeah. So we both grew up in the area where I live now.
Okay.
But he's moved around a lot. Now he's in West. So yeah, the question I was going to ask you was like in terms of like recommendations and in terms of like your experience with introducing Black or African arts and storytelling. What kind of recommendations would you have for like any books or places to go for people who might be interested in learning new things like in that space?
Oh, that is such a broad question. So we work with books from authors of colour, so not just black authors. So books that I recommend, actually, I really love this Vietnamese author.
Okay.
She's called Nguyen Van Quay Mai.
Okay.
And she wrote The Mountain Sing. So I love historical fiction, so I'm a big history nerd.
Okay.
And so I love historical fiction because then I can still learn, but not in a like...
Drudging, boring way.
Yeah. Sometimes like non-fiction can be quite... Well, it's depressing anyway, but just like a bit dry.
And dry as well, of course,
But she writes both her books are like multi-generational stories spanning across like 100 years plus and across different geographies. And because I don't know too much about like the history of Vietnam or like Southeast Asia, it covers a lot of that. But like through the characters, but it's really, it's just beautiful. So
sounds good.
That.
Sounds like a book as well, similar to, I don't know if you heard of a guy called Ocean Vuong.
Yes,
and he had... I forgot the book's name. I think it's like On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous or something like that. Okay. But it was similar to that, where he's basically talking about as an immigrant, like 3 generations. So his mum coming here, finding it hard, getting all stressed and angry and stuff like that. And so she would lash out on him, but she's just really going through her own stuff, you know. And then before that, his grandmother... And his grandmother was like taken somewhere, and she had a very torrid life. But the only thing that she had is that she called herself an orchid, because her name was the only thing that she could control. And so like she ran away from the situation that she was in, and she would tell people, this is who I am, whatnot. And then it was really so it's beautiful. It's basically, again, it's in a weird way, like I wouldn't call it historical fiction, but it's about the culture and like what it means to them as well, you know. So that was
sounds really good.
Yeah, that was a solid one.
Oh, on the topic, there's another book club book that we read called Brotherless Nights. Have you read that? Brotherless Nights by V.V. Ganeshananthan. I forgot the name. We talked about it in the last episode. I forgot the name, but that's a historical fiction based on the Tamil Civil War, the Sri Lankan Civil War in the 80s. Was it the 80s?
Yeah, something.
Well, it was in that era of time, and that was like our first exposure to, like, for me, that was my first exposure to like historical fiction. So it was fiction, but based on real events. But it was interesting to have that in our discussion, because like some people kind of had the idea that the main characters were kind of from more of an affluent family within Sri Lanka. So like within the Tamil ethnicity, they maybe were one of the richer families where they had like the house with what's the spaces in the middle of a house that's like an open
courtyard.
They had a courtyard, so perfectly, they had like a courtyard, and they had a maid, and like they always had fresh ingredients to cook and stuff. But like it got me really thinking, because as I was reading the book, I was thinking I'm getting the history of Tamil people a little bit, and like it was really well written, but also very traumatizing. And it was a hard read to get like to continue and finish, especially for me, because I was like, I got to read this quickly and design the merch, and like we also do like a discussion and quiz at our club, so we curate the discussion themes, and we kind of think about what would be the most interesting thing to talk about based on the book, and then the quiz based on the book as well. But because it was such a heavy topic, I was like, like the last couple of books I did like quite a light-hearted quiz, but I don't know how I'm going to do it for this one.
Trauma.
I was annoyed because so the first book was Autobiography of Malcolm X, which I mentioned to you before, and then the second book was Flowers for Algernon. If you heard that, it's another quite a traumatic book as well.
There's a theme here.
It seems
so like I was really like, I was like, please guys, like let's just do a light read for the third one, but it didn't happen. But
so does your club choose the book?
So we get them to recommend it, and then we get them to vote for it on Instagram after. But that's based on like, so we look at the recommendations and think, okay, what would be the best for the book club in terms of discussion, and then we put them
put it on a poll, and then democratically elect our next book.
One or two of them may have been rigged, but
we put some happy books in there.
But it's been very interesting. So that was like my first experience, like reading like a historic fiction.
How'd you find it?
Like I said, it was it was hard. It was
traumatic.
hard.
Okay, fair.
I don't know why you're asking me, but it was hard to read.
We're switching roles now.
I like that. Because I wanted to have a conversation anyway. So like, no, it was like in terms of like just progressing, because we have a deadline because of the book club date.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I had enough time to absorb and process everything that was going on. The author was also giving us a lot of background of like people of her ethnicity, the food that they eat, and like the words that they use to describe each other, the family members, and like all that kind of stuff. Like, even during that whole thing, the main character is the only daughter of a family that has like four. I think she has 4 brothers. Each of them have their own personality. Some of them are readers and some of them aren't. So like even during the whole story, it's almost like she's like giving her own recommendations about what books to read and stuff to people to kind of get a more holistic worldview. So like people from her background and stuff. So like even in the book, she started the main character started her own book club within her university students and teachers and stuff, and they're recommending books. And she's talking about how like she feels like it would be difficult to discuss some books with some people that are there that might have been a part of militant groups and stuff. So it's very like it gets very deep and complicated very quickly.
How long did you have to read this book?
We give ourselves like most of the times like 3 weeks. By the time, so we do the book club and then we give ourselves like a week to like just relax and rest and process things, and then we put out the poll again and decide on the date of the next one, and then we try and get venue. And then it ends up being like 3 weeks. So and then if we're like interviewing authors or whatever, like we got read their book as well at the same time. So in terms of our own pleasure, reading for pleasure, that's like no, but
that's the irony, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, I find even with running free books campaign, I don't read as much as people think I do. So people are like, oh, you read this, and I'm like,
no, I
don't know what you're talking about.
I'm like, I will likely have the book because I'm obsessed with obviously getting books. But finding the time to read it, or like when I actually just want to switch off, I don't want to use my brain. Like I'm not gonna read.
No, of course. Because it kind of becomes that thing where now this is part of work, books are work, you know? So it's like you need something different, a whole different outlet for it. But one thing I was going to say as well, like back on the historical fiction and like the like reading about Sri Lanka and, you know, obviously you reading about Vietnam, I feel like and you working with like, you know, people of color and promoting their kind of books is, I think, probably more important now than ever, because like, you know, with what's on the rise now on the right wing, and there's a lot of like this weird sort of talk of like dehumanizing people and where they're from and who they are, and taking that away and just saying, oh, you're just, you know, you don't belong here, you're not from here, you're not, you know. Whereas I feel like if stories were, you know, if they were given or told about people's stories and where they're from and their cultures and this and that, it humanizes people a bit more. Like even, I think one of our friends, he came one day and a lady basically asked him to like grab something from the shelf, and then as he was helping her, she was like, oh, where are you from? And he told her Somali, and she was like, oh, I was actually reading a book about Somali and like people and the culture. And then funny enough, it was his book that she was reading.
What? Oh, what a flex.
He was like, well, that's me. And then like she invited him to his house and all this kind of stuff. And like took a picture and he put it on socials and it went viral. But like it just goes to show that like sometimes it's not like, I guess, beating someone on the head like, oh, I am human, value me, doesn't help. But like kind of like hear my story, where we came from and stuff like that. So I feel like now these kind of stories are probably more important than ever as stories, rather than just like, oh, this is why immigrants matter, or you know what I mean. So I feel like that's something that I feel like you'd be contributing well towards. I feel like it can be, because not to obviously just make you go into a whole different world here with new plans, but it's just I feel like that would be something that's, I guess, needed, is what I'm trying to say. That like
So before I did all of this stuff, my background was actually in like race work, race equity work. So I, straight from being a student, became a researcher, and I researched how structural racism impacts students of colour in terms of like their university experience and how we like the grades that we graduate with and all that kind of stuff, and then also staff. And so I spent like my formative career years doing that.
Yeah.
And it was mad depressing. So I was researching the institutions that I was also working in.
Yeah.
And when you're talking to staff and students, it becomes like kind of like a pseudo therapy session for them as well, because the way I do research, so you're taking on a lot, and then that work is used to inform university strategy and moving forward. So like I would say, like I was in the EDI space, and I in my earlier years, but I think as I've gotten older, I've just realised like there's multiple different ways that we can still try to educate people and bring people on that journey, but it doesn't always have to be kind of through a non-fiction route or like this is what the stats say or there's like other ways. And I think you also have to just kind of be attuned to like your energies. Like I feel like I was just depressed all the time doing that.
To be fair, so I feel like maybe that would, because you're taking on a lot of people's stress, so that could probably be hella burdening for you to deal with that, to like hear what they're saying, and then you're like, oh, I have to do something with these feelings that they've got. I just found that like eventually the responsibility felt too great. Because also I was a kid, like I was like 20, researching this, and like my research would be used across the universities in the UK. So like the responsibility was a lot. But yeah, also I think I just realised there was other ways for me to do this as well. It doesn't involve doing that. So, and I guess that's when I started teaching, and then Free Books Campaign kind of come from there.
So you're teaching at schools or
university?
Okay.
Yeah, so I was a university lecturer.
Okay, nice. How did that come about?
That's proper.
But from my academic background, so I was a researcher, and then my university wanted some Black Studies modules, and so they asked me if I wanted to create them, and I did.
Amazing.
So yeah, I really enjoyed doing it. That's one of my career highlights.
Great stuff. It's good because I was going to talk about like the historian aspect of like Google description. You know, like something I always find interesting, like when you're speaking to people about like what kind of topics they picked in like GCSEs, A-levels and stuff. Like when I hear like people pick geography or history, I'm just like, what are you thinking? Like, I always really loved history, like especially in school, because I felt like that's where one of my like original like inspirations came from in terms of storytelling. And I loved hearing all those different stories about people, and even when it like obviously growing up here and like most of it being like Western based stories, like the Battle of the Roses and
one of my universities that celebrates that every year. So I went to Lancaster University. And they have
that's what happened.
War with York Uni.
Like Normandy and all that.
Like, Normandy and that.
Normandy and that. Goodness. But so what drove you to kind of go down that path as well in terms of history? Like, was it just something that you always loved as well? Was there any like stories or like historic backgrounds that really caught your attention, or eras in time that you really loved?
I loved ancient Egypt. When I was in primary school, I learned ancient Egypt, and then I was always interested in history from then. I went through like a whole war phase. Like, I know, it's weird.
Fair enough.
No, through secondary school, I was really interested in World War II.
Okay.
But I never actually studied history as I never took it as one of my options for GCSE or A level, because in my head I was like, well, I want to get out of poverty, so let me take a serious subject. So I was like, do you know what I mean? I was like, that's real nice.
So what's a serious subject?
I mean, obviously now I have to respect my own profession. So it is a serious subject. But at the time I was like, that ain't gonna get me. Where's that gonna get me?
What was it for you then at that time?
The serious subject? Oh no, you're gonna laugh because I didn't even choose serious subjects in the end.
Psychology?
Oh yeah, I did psychology actually. That's serious.
Okay.
I did media.
Okay.
Because I was considering working in like film and TV and stuff. But, sociology. Okay. I guess that's serious.
Yeah.
I mean, now as adults, everything is all serious.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool.
That's what I did for A level. And then I studied history at uni. So it was then that I was like, okay, well, I need to go to uni for sure, but there was nothing that interested me. And so I came as a philosophy major, went to the intro class and was like, no, this is not for me. So I switched straight away. because my university make you do 3 majors in your first year, so that you can change your mind and not have to start all over again.
Like American system. Like the British universities did that.
Yeah, not all of them do. Mine did, which at the time was like, oh, that's just like 3 loads of work. But actually, it's a really good idea.
No, for sure. Instead of just 1 bachelor degree, here it is.
Yeah, and then you can change your mind. So.
Yeah,
that always made a lot more sense to me. Like here, like you're just like, okay, I'm stuck in this. Like I get people asking me now, like I'm doing like pharmacology, like, but I really don't enjoy it. And then
wait, you did pharmacology?
No, not me.
Oh, okay.
They're just saying like they're in that degree, and they're like, but I don't really enjoy it. Like, what should I do? Or is it better to just stick it out? And I'm just like, I've got no idea, but I'm gonna try and give you some generic advice right now. But like I always tell like young people, just try new things. Like I don't know why we all have this idea that we've got to be accomplished so soon in life, and it's got to be in certain ways and all that. But like I always try and push people away from uni nowadays, unless they really know what they want.
Okay.
Because I did an apprenticeship myself in IT, and I got to do a lot of different things within IT and kind of figure out what I really like. And it didn't end up being in IT because I left the industry now.
Okay.
But at least I got the opportunity to understand what I like and don't like. And I feel like because like of the university system, the way it's set up here, it doesn't really give you that much of an opportunity, especially with like pressure from parents, especially if you're from an immigrant background. You feel like you've got to like, don't waste your time. That's the idea, right? Don't waste time. And then you kind of feel like you're stuck. Where I think that's like one of the bigger issues that like people from our background, especially men, feel in that like era between like 18 to like 23. So it's been interesting hearing like how everyone kind of picks where they're going. I was gonna ask Sharmarke, like in terms of your like, what was your history? Because he was also big into like, for me it was ancient Greek. Like I memorized all like the mythology, and I got so many like different books about ancient Greek. Like I don't know why I didn't get into like ancient Romans too much, but there's a whole thing where about ancient Rome now as well, which is a bit of a meme as well. But what was it for you?
To be fair, it was everything. Legit. It was anything that was like interesting, like the Romans, the Greeks, the Persians. But to be fair, like for me, I think it was mainly main characters in life that have happened. Like Alexander the Great, I feel like is a main character.
Okay.
Napoleon, those kind of ones. Like what were they up to? Like around this time, and like Julius Caesar, like 33 was already conquering half the place, you know, and then Alexander did it 28 apparently, you know, at my age.
Because I've never actually thought about the ages of people when they were doing stuff.
That's what I would.
My brain when you said that.
Yeah, no, because legit, I'll be the second thing after. I'm like, oh, he conquered like Persia and Egypt. What age? Like I just always check to see like what age they did this at, and he obviously did at 25, you know.
Imagine your age mates are just like,
I'm like,
if you were comparing them back then,
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what the hell?
Back then, like your friends.
And I know parents would be doing that. You're still sleeping. You know what Alexander's doing? Alexander's in Egypt. He's got a whole city after him in Egypt. You know, so like so it was that kind of stuff. Because but then what weirdly happened was I just realized that human beings, as fascinating as we are, we're just all the same. The same thing just happens all over and over and over again. It's like you just go through a period of like turmoil, and then wars, and then peace, and then like the guys that start the turmoil again, and you go back into war, and then so it's just I was like, okay, so let me just at least just look at interesting people that I've you know, and like different things that have like changed stuff, like the printing press and automobiles and, you know, electricity. So weird stuff. I just my history thing.
I do hear it from him every now and then. Like he dropped a video. He was talking about how in Somalia. I'll let you talk about it, the printing press, like how it didn't.
Oh yeah, so like basically, when the advent of the printing press really changed a lot of things, especially with like people how they told stories, and that didn't hit Africa for like a minute. So they would literally it would be oral. So there was 2 different types of ways that stories happen. So because I was always like, where's our like mystery novels? Like where's our like Sherlock Holmes and stuff like that, or like Hercule Poirot, like big fantasy books, and half of it was because they couldn't document that kind of stuff. They didn't have the pages or like books to be like, oh, let me just flick back to remember a character. Everything was just like kind of orally passed down, and so the type of stories that they preferred were like things that had lessons, morals, and like if you tell lies, this is what will happen to you, and those kind of ones, you know. And I was like, oh, that's because it was a curiosity, like where is our fantasy, or like where is our big books, and then the fact that because of one technological advancement on one area of the world that didn't happen here, was the separation between like methods of like telling stories, you know. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, all sorts of, because I'm just curious of like how the world works, and we've come so far as a race, as a human race, but we're just all the same. Like we have all the same feelings and like doubts and like things that you know, like the Egyptians did. Like they had something where somebody was chipping through on stone, like just straight insecurities. I don't know if I'm good looking enough. I don't know. And it's like, oh, we're just this. You know what I mean? Instead of just putting that on Instagram, you know what I mean? Just chiseling it out.
Tablet,
Imagine someone finds your tablet.
Yeah, so like their Twitter was like...
really believe in that to be writing on that.
Yeah,
no, of course.
Deep, actually.
All the ones that were tweeting
your
back in the
mom
day.
finds them in your room, like, what's this you've been etching?
Nah, the ones that were tweeting back in the day just got massive biceps. That's just what it is. Yeah, it's a whole different... Yeah, so that was, I guess, my kind of... Yeah.
See, every time we're doing a podcast, I'm learning more about it. We've known each other for 20 years, learning more about each other by the day. Going back to the present now, so like in terms of the work that you do, what would you say is like your main thing right now then? It doesn't have to be a one thing or like...
Okay, yeah, because I feel like it depends on the season. Because not like in terms of like the weather, but like season of life. Phase of the year. Free Books campaign takes up a lot of my time now, which is, if I had to quantify, it's probably like 3-4 days a week, and then just like also constantly in my brain. But I do like I host in conversations with authors a lot. But outside of kind of the book world, I do archive producing for music videos, TVs, documentary, that kind of thing. Basically that is what I do.
No, but I wanted to also talk about the festival, because it looked like something just out of this world. And I wanted to kind of know your thought processes from like, because you said every time you move in the goalpost, so like kind of the inception of it to like, I guess, it finally forming into something amazing. So like, how was the festival? How did it go? What was it all about?
What was the most proud moment?
That's it. Whichever one.
The festival go. What was your most proud moment?
The festival went well.
Yeah.
I feel like this year's festival was the best one we've done so far.
Amazing.
You asked me my approach to festivals.
Yeah.
So my approach is that books can actually be the barrier to entry, obviously for a literature festival.
Yeah.
So over the years, we've kind of expanded away from books. Books still be an essential part, but looking at storytelling in all of its forms. So over the years, we've had like Oscar-winning directors come through the door. We've had sound designers who like design all that feeling and emotion when you're watching a film and work on that. We've had a manga workshop. We've had like just across the spectrum of storytelling, so that there's, in theory, there should be something for you that you're interested in. And then we have a free bookstore at the festival, so it's like Waterstones but free. So we curate the books based on the program. So if you're not interested in reading at all and you came to like a DJing workshop, for example, oh shit.
That's okay. I think the microphone had enough.
Yeah, it's like, pack it in. Damn, I'm leaving. All right. Say you did like a DJ workshop. Yeah. There'll be books related to music and DJing in the free bookstore. Okay. So that might be your way to picking up a book, because my philosophy is that there's a lot of elitism in reading.
Yeah, for sure.
In the literature world, yeah. So like, even when it comes down to audiobooks, people are like, oh, that doesn't count. That's not reading.
Yeah, a bit snobby about that.
Yeah, but it is
all
reading.
ebooks even now.
Yeah, I also think there's quite ableist as well.
Yeah.
Or like there's a specific type of book you should be reading, like the classics or whatever. But maybe you might like Smart or something. I don't know, but like it doesn't matter. Like you're reading. So, and then also our festivals are in areas of London where there's high rates of poverty. So we go to our communities. And then we schedule everything around what we think our community's lives would be like. So if you're working multiple jobs, for example, or if you've got kids, like what times are the best time for us to slot things in, and what free stuff can we bring to the space that will just like alleviate some financial pressure from those few days. So yeah, I start with the community first and then kind of build based on what I think they would want.
Because that sounds very hand-baked. It sounds like every single detail was proper looked into and curated for the people.
I'm very intentional with my work. I don't... If I set out to do something, I want to do it to a higher standard. I don't want to do anything half-assed.
One and done, huh? No, that's absolutely amazing.
He said.
Beautiful stuff. Everything's linking back to that now. No, I mean, you bring it to the community. What was your the observation you had of the reaction from the community, or was there anyone in particular that you caught your eye that was like, okay, I didn't expect this person to be here, but it looks like they're really benefiting today?
I don't think so, but I think the nicest parts of the festival are people that come every year. So like there's been families that came in our first year and now their kids are much it's been like 4 years of the festival. So now that like they've gone from being an actual baby to like being able to talk,
to walk and everything,
actually read like a picture book or something. And then like the kids going through different stages of their life. Like I was talking to a parent this year, and when she first started coming 4 years ago, her kids were more into books, but now they're not. And she was like, how can I get them to come? And we had a whole game station that we set up with Warner Brothers for that purpose. And she was like, oh, can get them. I told them there was going to be gaming, so they came for that, you know? So like those moments I feel really proud about and I'm really happy with. And then everyone that's in my team have either come to the festival or volunteered or... spoke at the festival and they've come and worked with us. So everything is literally like an ecosystem.
That's a whole community. But that must be the most beautiful feeling to actually see that happening right in front of your eyes. You know what I mean? Like people coming back, taking part of it, like actually changing their lives, like bringing kids back into reading. Like how does it feel for you? Or on the day you just like so stressed, or like are you able to even like process what's happening, or like be present?
I'm not very good at deeping things. Do you know what I mean? Like the festival will come, the morning will be naturally stressful, and then there'll be a moment of calm where you're like, okay, everything's happening and everything's working. Then after it's done, you're tired. And you're like, okay.
Burn out.
And then I'm like, ideas, next thing. So I don't really. I need to be better.
I'd say you should journal.
Things. I do sometimes.
I would say like just like a little snapshot of like the moment, because sometimes you just forget about it. And you'll feel like, so then like in a year's time you look back, you say, oh, you know, actually I had a good time then, you know, because that's something that I'm trying to do a bit more, instead of like, okay, well, this is already done, next thing. I'm trying to actually be more present in because then you feel like you've come a long way, instead of like just being pushed into, you know, continuously doing the next thing.
I think those moments come for me if I meet someone and then I tell them what I do and they're like, oh, I've come to the festival or something like that. Then I'm like, oh wow, like this is in my mind, it's still like a tiny little baby project. Do you know what I mean? So moments like that, I'm like, oh, okay.
No, of course, because even closer to, I was seeing it all across my feed. To be fair, I wanted to apply as a volunteer, but I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the time.
And I somehow missed the day completely. I was like,
wow, you're coming with your excuses.
I'm going to be there by 4 next year as well.
No, you guys actually have to get involved. But
no, 100%.
As you guys. Because I would love to. I would love to get more men reading.
No, for sure. And that's our mission. You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes getting them into places and spaces is where they actually start to change their whole idea around it, instead of like, oh, just here's a book. But if they see the community, they're like, oh, you know what, actually, because the beautiful thing that happens with our book club is people start exchanging numbers, and you just see like a community forming.
And that's what you're facilitating.
Yeah, and it's like, oh wow, so like maybe next time they're gonna read the book or like get more involved in reading, you know. And it's like, okay, we need those kind of spaces, you know. Yeah, so we'd be more than happy to help in any capacity. That
I feel like there's a good like group of us doing like bookish things with our communities, and we all support each other anyway, and I feel like we just have to keep doing it.
I think that's the beautiful thing. It's about more collaboration and competition.
100%.
Because I think if one person's tide goes high, everyone else goes high, you know. And that's the beautiful thing about it.
You guys do a podcast on book beef.
Book beef.
Book beef. I do like controversial topics,
He does.
so I might have to.
But like with book groups and stuff, that would be interesting.
Okay,
As in, we beef other book groups. It's just a book club battle, yeah.
Book club,
I didn't think this is how we'd be ending the podcast.
See, I'm full of ideas.
Hey, she was talking about war earlier.
Yeah, this makes sense. She had the war phase. This is
it's coming
back
for
to
tactics.
I mean, let's all collaborate and work together.
Genuinely. No, of course.
We will, for sure. It's been beautiful to see it, honestly. Just like you said, so many groups doing amazing things, and you're a massive part of that.
And you're?
Yeah, that's taking inspiration from. We're going to keep
100%.
But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today. It's been absolutely amazing just to get to know a bit about you, and allowing us to platform you a little bit and platforming us as well. That's how we all grow together. And yeah, thank you so much, Sofia, for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you very much for listening to the PaperTrails podcast here at Inspyre, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the PaperTrails podcast. If you like this episode, please leave a review, comment, like, and subscribe. And be sure to follow us on all our socials.
Keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work.